So with animals, the very first thing I teach in all of the animal communication work I do, whether I'm teaching a class or individual, is you ask permission. Just no different than when you call up somebody on the phone and you would say, "Are you free? You have a few minutes to talk." You would ask permission. Let's do that now. Let's ask Alex to let us in, and also for his energy now, you give him permission to enter your fields. Okay? So in my world, the mantra is, the animals are the greater body of healers and teachers on this planet. And if you've never heard that before, I just want you to think about that, because they exist in a world outside of what we call duality or polarity. They have no no's, really. They don't have negativity in their lives or karma in the sense of we do. They don't do anything to hurt anyone. They're respectful of the planet. They don't act out unless there's abuse in some way in their life, or it's a little personality conflict that they might have, like the two boys will have sometimes. But they don't hurt anyone. So the energy of why they're here, why they incarnate and exist in a domestic situation is always for the greater good of the humans, is what they tell me. So again, I don't expect you to necessarily think everything I say is going to be your Bible, but if it's new information, I would ask you to take it into your heart and consider it as a possibility that we're in the presence of very high beings when we're around animals, higher than you might have thought before. Light beings, if you will, that have chosen to come into a form that's an animal body, in this case a horse, for the greater good of us. They're not having a personal experience in the same way that we are. They're having an experience finding a way to interface with us, finding a way to help us, finding a way to be friends and to teach us through the different things that they do. In recent years, they've told me that they're land dolphins. They carry some of the same star DNA that the dolphins carry. So they live in herds, like the dolphins live in pods, and they live in community. They know how to raise their babies. They know how to negotiate when they're free on the land. They know how not to damage the earth as they graze and move about. And in a social situation, when they're free, all of the mares come together to raise the colts, the foals. They all contribute. It takes a village to raise a child, right? They do that intuitively. So the fact that they come into domestic situations is just, I think it's pretty amazing. Thinking back to when they first became pulling our travois and then later our carts and then allowing us to ride them. There's one thing he's bringing up that he'd like to say is that the horse community, the greater good of the horse community, is asking us to consider forgiving ourselves for eating them, because they didn't come to be food, and there was a time when we did eat them. And so certain animals come to work in that situation and some don't. Horses are not here to be food. They're here to be healers and teachers, to be assistants to us.